had that uncanny feeling, where your phone or maybe even your car seems to know what you're going to do next?
Oh, yeah, like your smart alarm wakes you up at just the right moment.
Exactly. Or your social media feed is just this endless scroll that feels so, well, tailored just for you.
It's incredibly personalized, isn't it? It
Yeah.
really does feel like there are these, I don't know, invisible forces kind of arranging things quietly,
Guiding your choices, shaping what you see.
what you do.
Yeah.
And often you don't even realize how much it's happening.
Right. And those forces, they have a name, algorithms.
Mm,
And they're way more common, more woven into our lives than maybe we think, operating silently, pretty much behind every digital interaction.
precisely. And, the word algorithm might sound a bit sci-fi still,
A little bit, yeah.
but really, these days, they're as normal as grabbing your morning coffee. They're just part of the furniture now.
So in this deep dive, that's our mission, really, to peel back those layers.
Yeah, let's dig in.
We want to explore how algorithms touch almost every corner of your life, from waking up, through work, entertainment, even how society functions. It's a huge landscape.
It truly is. We'll try to unpack what algorithms actually are, get a feel for how they work.
Look at the amazing benefits they bring, for sure.
Definitely. But also get into the, let's say, trickier sides, the concerning downsides, the challenges.
And crucially, we want to give you some actionable insights. How to stay informed, how to feel empowered in a world that's so shaped by these digital architects.
Think of it as like an essential guide for navigating this digital landscape.
Absolutely, because understanding algorithms, it's not just for tech folks anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's really become a fundamental skill, kind of basic knowledge for navigating modern life for pretty much everyone.
Yeah, and our goal here is to give you those insights without, burying you under a ton of technical jargon.
Yeah.
Keep it accessible.
Definitely. Keep it engaging. We thought we'd sort of walk through a typical day
Good.
and just reveal those algorithmic undercurrents that shape your experiences along the way. Hopefully, you'll end up with a clearer, more nuanced picture of these powerful sort of behind-the-scenes systems.
Okay, let's dive in then. We hear the word algorithm all the time, but yeah, for a lot of people, it can still sound a bit intimidating, abstract.
It can. It definitely can. But let's try and demystify it right away with something hopefully everyone gets. Like imagine baking your grandma's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, I'm already there. Sounds good.
Right. So you pull out her recipe card, and it tells you, first, you mix the flour, sugar, baking soda.
Step one.
Step one. Next, cream the butter and sugar. Then add the eggs, one by one. Then the chocolate chips, and finally bake at, say, 350 for exactly 10 minutes.
Got it. A clear sequence of operations, a set of instructions.
Precisely. That recipe is an algorithm. At its core, it's just that. A clear, step-by-step set of instructions designed to get a specific result.
Delicious cookies in this case.
Delicious cookies. And thinking about it that way, it really takes the fear out of the word, doesn't it?
It really does. And you mentioned grandma's recipe, but algorithms aren't actually new inventions, are they? They go way back.
Oh, not at all. It's fascinating, actually. You can trace the basic idea back centuries. Think about the Greek mathematician Euclid,
Euclid?
running
Sure.
around 300 BCE. So, a long time ago.
Wow, that far back.
Really.
Yeah.
He developed this step-by-step process, an algorithm for finding the greatest common divisor of two numbers. It's a defined procedure to solve a problem.
So the same basic principle's been around for millennia.
It has. The fundamental idea, yes.
But, okay, fast forward to today. Obviously, things are vastly different. Today's algorithms feel exponentially more powerful. They're like supercharged.
Completely, yeah. Supercharged is a good word. Because they combine incredible computing power
Right.
with access to just massive data sets.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of information.
Okay.
And this is the crucial part. They often incorporate machine learning.
Right, so these modern ones aren't just following static rules like the recipe. What does that actually mean for an algorithm to learn? How does that change things from, what Euclid was doing?
Yeah, that's the real game changer. Machine learning gives algorithms this remarkable ability to, well, learn from patterns within all that data they have access to.
Okay.
They can actually improve their own performance over time.
Yeah.
Automatically, without a human reprogramming them every step of the way.
So they sort of get smarter on their own.
Basically, yeah. Think of it less like that digital chef just following one fixed recipe over and over.
Okay.
It's more like a chef who not only follows the instructions, but also experiments, adapts, learns based on feedback.
Ah, I see. Like if I really like the last batch of cookies.
Exactly. The algorithms or learning chef might notice that signal, that feedback, And maybe add a few more chocolate chips next time.
Or tweak the baking time slightly because they came out a bit too crispy.
Precisely. It adapts. It learns from what works or maybe what you seem to prefer based on your actions.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with all that learning, at their absolute core, whether it's simple like Euclid's or super complex AI, they all still work on that basic principle, right? Input, process, output.
Absolutely. That fundamental structure holds. They always take some kind of input.
Like my search query on Google.
Or your location from your phone, your click history,
Right.
maybe your heart rate from your smartwatch. It's this huge stream of digital input.
Right, which is constantly feeding that learning process you mentioned.
Then they process these inputs, they run them through a set of rules, or increasingly these complex learned models.
And finally, they produce an output,
Search results, the route on your map app, that movie recommendation,
or the targeted ads that follow me around.
or the targeted ads, yeah. So algorithms are quite simply the backbone of modern tech. They're just everywhere in our digital lives.
Okay, so we've kind of defined them, looked at the history, the learning aspect.
Yeah.
But to really get a handle on how pervasive they are, I think we need to actually see them in action.
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe trace through a typical day, starting right from when you wake up.
All right, perfect starting point. Waking up. Your day, and probably yours too, listening, likely begins with an algorithm gently nudging you awake.
You mean beyond just a basic alarm clock going off at 7:00 a.m.?
Oh yeah, much more sophisticated now. If you're using one of those smart alarm apps, like Sleep Cycle, or maybe something built into a Fitbit or another wearable,
Uh-huh.
it's doing way more than just buzzing at a set time. These apps use clever algorithms to track your sleep patterns.
How do they track it? Movement.
Usually, yeah.
Good.
Analyzing data from your phone's accelerometer, detecting how much you move, or maybe from your smartwatch's heart rate monitor.
Okay, so it's gathering data while I sleep. Why? What's the goal?
The goal is usually to figure out the best moment in your sleep cycle to wake you up.
Ah, so avoiding that horrible feeling when you're dragged out of really deep sleep.
Exactly. By figuring out when you're in a lighter phase of sleep rather than, say, deep REM sleep, the algorithm aims to wake you then.
So you feel less groggy, more refreshed.
That's the idea, to make you feel genuinely more refreshed without that jarring transition. It's a subtle thing, but it can make a real difference to the start of your day.
Definitely. A subtle improvement, thanks entirely to an algorithm.
Okay.
So that gets you awake. Then, for a lot of us, the next step is reaching for the phone.
The scroll begins.
Right. Whether it's X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever your feed of choice is, that content you see, it's not random at all, is
So
it?
definitely not random. It's meticulously curated by really powerful recommendation algorithms.
It feels incredibly personalized, sometimes almost spookily so. You hear people joking, is my phone listening to me? Is that just paranoia or is something else going on?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a common feeling. And it's really a testament to how good these algorithms have become. They're like these super efficient digital detectives.
Detectives, how so? What clues are they picking up?
Pretty much everything you do on the platform, every post you've ever liked, videos you watch all the way through, how long you paused on a particular image or meme, even who you follow, who you interact with the most.
All those little signals.
All those signals are constantly being fed into the system, continuously.
And based on all that data, they build up this incredibly detailed profile of your interests. Like, okay, this person likes cat videos, fitness tips, tech news.
Exactly. And the primary goal,
Yeah.
to serve up more stuff they predict will keep you hooked, keep you scrolling, keep you engaged on the platform for longer.
Right. It's all about maximizing your attention, really.
It is. And they use some pretty sophisticated techniques to do it. One common one is called collaborative filtering.
Okay, what's that?
It essentially compares your behavior to users who seem similar to you. Finds your, like, digital twins.
So if other people who like the same, I don't know, obscure indie bands as me also tend to like certain sci-fi movies,
Yep.
the algorithm might suggest those movies to me.
Precisely. It makes those connections. People like you also like this. Another method is content-based filtering.
How's that different?
That directly matches new content to what you've liked in the past based on the content's features. So if you engage with a bunch of posts about vegan recipes,
It learns I like vegan recipes.
right, and it just surfaces more vegan recipe content for you, or maybe ads for vegan cookbooks start popping up everywhere.
Oh, yes, the ads. I definitely see that happening.
And this whole process, it's powered by really advanced machine learning models, analyzing billions, literally billions of data points across millions, maybe even billions of users, all in real time.
The scale is just mind-boggling.
It really is.
And they learn so fast. You watch one type of video on YouTube you've never watched before, and suddenly your whole recommendation page shifts.
Exactly. It adapts incredibly quickly. It doubles down on what it thinks you want, creating that feedback loop, which can lead to that feeling of being in an algorithmic bubble.
Yeah, where it gets harder to stumble across things outside what it thinks you like.
That's the potential downside, yeah. It's not just reflecting your tastes, it can start shaping them too.
Okay, so the social feed is heavily curated. But it doesn't stop there, does it? Even just checking the weather.
Even the weather. Apps like AccuWeather or your phone's built-in weather app, they use algorithms.
Wow.
They process this massive flood of data, stuff from satellites, radar systems, ground sensors, all crunched together by algorithms to predict the conditions. Will you need an umbrella? Is it shorts weather? That's an algorithm helping you decide.
And news apps too, I guess, like Google News.
Definitely. They use algorithms to prioritize stories for you based on your reading history, your location, what's trending globally, or maybe just in your local area. It's personalized news delivery.
And my music. That Spotify playlist that sometimes feels like it reads my mind. Discover Weekly.
Yeah. Discover Weekly is a classic example, definitely algorithm-driven. It blends songs you've listened to with new tracks that are popular among other users who have similar musical tastes to you.
That collaborative filtering again.
Exactly. For music.
Yeah.
All designed to keep you listening, keep you discovering new stuff you'll probably like, creating that kind of sonic bubble too, maybe.
So, wow. From waking up feeling refreshed to the curated social feed, knowing the weather, hearing the right music, algorithms are already deeply integrated just in our morning routine.
They really set the stage, don't they? It really highlights how personal they've become. But then, okay, you step out the door, and they take on an even more practical, almost indispensable role that they literally guide your path.
You mean navigation, GPS.
Right. When you head out, if you use Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps, algorithms are basically your co-pilot.
And these aren't simple maps. They're using some really sophisticated logic, right? Things like Dijkstra's algorithm or A.
Exactly. They rely on incredibly sophisticated routing algorithms. You mentioned Dijkstra's. That's like the meticulous one, checking every possible path to find the absolute shortest. A is even smarter, using educated guesses to focus on the most promising routes first, making it super efficient for complex road networks.
And they're crunching real-time data constantly.
Yes, constantly. Traffic speeds from other phones on the road.
Like Waze reporting jams.
Exactly. Road closures, construction updates, accidents reported by other drivers, all that crowdsourced data feeds in.
And it uses all that to calculate the optimal route for you right now.
Right now. And if you hit an unexpected traffic jam or you make a wrong turn,
which I do a lot,
it recalculates immediately, often before you've even fully processed you missed the exit.
It's amazing how fast it adapts, and they learn too, don't they? Like preferences.
Oh yeah. You can tell it, avoid tolls, avoid highways, and it remembers that. But it also learns your habits subtly.
How so?
Maybe Google Maps notices you consistently take a slightly longer route home because it has fewer tricky left turns. After a while, it might just start suggesting that route proactively, knowing you prefer it.
It's genuinely like having this super navigator friend who knows every shortcut, every back road.
Except this friend is processing data from millions of drivers in real time.
Yeah. To give you the absolute best path, it's really impressive.
It is. And this kind of real-time optimization, it's absolutely critical for things like ride-sharing, too. Uber, Lyft.
Oh, completely. Their algorithms are the absolute core of the whole system, aren't they? Matching riders with available drivers.
Based on location, who's free, and crucially, that real-time demand in your specific area right now.
And that leads to surge pricing sometimes, right? That dynamic pricing.
Right. That's pure supply and demand algorithms at work. Constantly analyzing how many people are requesting rides versus how many drivers are actually available nearby at this exact moment.
So when it suddenly starts pouring rain and everyone wants a ride home from the station at the same time?
Demand spikes. The algorithm bumps up the price.
To encourage more drivers to get out there and meet the demand.
Exactly. It's trying to balance the market. It might not feel great for your wallet in that moment.
No argument there.
But it's a very clear example of real-time optimization, trying to make the system work even under pressure.
Okay. What about public transport? Lots of city apps give incredibly accurate real-time info now. Is that algorithmic too?
Absolutely. Apps like Citymapper or Transit, they use algorithms. They analyze the official schedules, sure, but also real-time bus and train data feeds if available.
And walking times between stops.
Right. To find the most efficient journey for you, combining different modes of transport. And they can even start to predict delays.
How? By learning patterns?
Yeah, learning historical patterns. Like if the 8 a.m. subway is consistently 5 minutes late on Tuesdays, the algorithm might learn that pattern over time.
And warn you. Or suggest an alternative route.
Exactly. It makes commuting less of a guessing game, hopefully.
So, wow, okay. From waking up, navigating traffic, even catching the bus, algorithms are constantly, quietly working away.
They really are, setting the stage. And that kind of brings us to the next big chunk of the day, work and leisure. And this is where algorithms often fade even more into the background, but they're incredibly influential.
Right. Let's start with the workplace. For many people, that influence starts even before they get hired, right?
Yeah.
Job hunting platforms.
Oh, yeah. Platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, they use matching algorithms. They scan resumes, profiles, looking for skills, experience, keywords.
To suggest job postings that might be a good fit for you.
Exactly. But it goes deeper. Many companies now use applicant tracking systems, ATS.
ATS, I've heard of those.
Right. These are algorithms designed to filter resumes before a human recruiter even lays eyes on them.
So wait, if my resume doesn't have the exact right keywords, or maybe the formatting is off, an algorithm could screen me out automatically.
It's a real possibility, yes. They scan for specific keywords, qualifications, sometimes even formatting. That's why you hear that advice so often now.
Tailor your resume. Use the exact words from the job description.
Precisely. It's partly about getting past that initial algorithmic gatekeeper.
That's a really practical tip right there.
Oh.
Okay, what about marketing and advertising? That seems like a huge area for algorithms.
So enormous, and probably the one people notice most or feel most acutely. You get things like retargeting.
That's when you look at, say, a pair of running shoes on one website.
And then suddenly ads for those exact running shoes are following you everywhere you go online.
Yes. Facebook, news sites, everywhere. It feels a bit stalkerish sometimes.
Can it feel that way? Yeah. And beyond just retargeting those specific shoes, you have personalized ads from platforms like Google Ads, Meta, Facebook, Instagram.
How do they personalize them so much?
They use really complex machine learning, analyzing just vast amounts of user data. Your search history, your purchase history, what you click on, your demographics, stated interests.
All that stuff you mentioned for social media feeds.
Exactly. All fed into models to serve you ads that are incredibly personal. The goal, from the advertiser's perspective, is to maximize the chance you'll actually click or buy something.
Makes sense. Okay, finance. That seems like another area where speed and data are key. High-frequency trading.
Oh, HFT is almost entirely algorithm-driven now. It's kind of mind-blowing.
How does it work? What are the algorithms doing?
They're analyzing market data in real time. Price changes, news feeds coming in, trading volumes.
Yeah.
Milliseconds matter.
And they execute trades based on that analysis.
Thousands, maybe even millions of trades in milliseconds, faster than any human could possibly react.
Wow. That sounds intense. Are there concerns about that?
There are definitely debates about it, questions around market stability, fairness. Can individual investors even compete with that kind of speed and access? It's a complex area.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, what about retail? Not just the ads online, but the actual running of the business. Like, how does a store know how much stuff to stock?
Inventory management. That's crucial and heavily reliant on algorithms now.
Predicting demand.
Exactly. Predicting how much of a product is needed, whether it's, the latest iPhones for the holiday season or maybe avocados for the weekend rush at the grocery store.
How do they predict that? What data are they looking at?
All sorts of things. Past sales trends, of course. Seasonality, like stocking up on sunscreen in summer.
Yeah.
Upcoming holidays or promotions. Even external factors like weather forecasts.
Weather forecasts, really?
Yeah. If a heat wave is predicted, the algorithm might tell the supermarket chain to stock up on ice cream, BBQ supplies, maybe bottled water. It's using data to anticipate demand much more accurately.
Using data to anticipate demand makes sense. And inside the warehouse, like somewhere huge, like Amazon.
Oh, absolutely. That's a whole algorithmic ballet in there.
Yeah.
You've got robots moving products around.
Guided by algorithm.
Guided by algorithms, yeah.
Yeah.
Organizing everything efficiently.
Right.
Routing the robots to pick items for orders incredibly quickly. It's how they manage that massive scale and speed.
It's mind-boggling. And even those little suggestions you see online, customers also bought.
Oh, yeah, the upsell prompts.
Those are algorithms, too.
Yep, often using something called association rule mining. It's basically finding strong patterns in the purchase data.
Like if lots of people buy a new phone, they also tend to buy a case and a screen protector in the same order.
Exactly. The algorithms spots that strong co-occurrence, that pattern, across thousands or millions of transactions. And then it learns to proactively suggest that bundle the case, the screen protector, to the next customer buying that phone.
It often feels helpful, actually, though, yeah, I know it's also designed to get me to buy more.
It's designed to feel helpful and encourage more sales. Both things can be true.
Okay. What about healthcare? You mentioned smart alarms waking us up, but are there bigger applications? That seems like such a critical area.
It's a massive area of development. Huge potential, but also, as we might discuss later, some significant challenges around data and bias.
Okay, let's stick with the potential for now. Diagnostics.
Diagnostic algorithms are getting incredibly good. They can analyze medical images, X-rays, MRIs, CT scans, looking for subtle signs of disease. Things like cancer detection.
And the accuracy, how does it compare to human experts?
In some specific tasks, studies have shown accuracy matching or even exceeding experienced human radiologists. It's still early days in widespread use, but the potential is there. For instance, there was a well-known Google Health algorithm for diabetic retinopathy.
What's that?
Its damage to the eye caused by diabetes can lead to blindness if not caught early. This algorithm analyzes scans of the back of the eye.
And it could detect the damage.
Yeah, and studies showed its performance was comparable to specialist ophthalmologists, which is amazing. That kind of early detection has truly life-changing potential.
Wow. That really is incredible. Beyond diagnosis, what else? Predicting problems.
Yes, predictive analytics. Algorithms can analyze electronic health records, patient history, lab results, maybe vital signs from wearables.
To predict future health issues.
Or predict outcomes, like identifying patients who might be at a higher risk for developing heart failure down the line, or predicting which patients might respond best to a particular drug treatment.
So hospitals could use these insights?
Yeah, potentially. To prioritize care, maybe bring those high-risk patients in for checkups sooner, or to allocate resources better, like scheduling extra nurses during predicted flu season peaks, based on algorithmic models.
Using data to be more proactive about health. That seems incredibly powerful.
Okay.
It feels like algorithms are touching almost every major industry now, far beyond just tech and finance.
They really are spreading everywhere. Take manufacturing. Predictive maintenance is a big application.
Predictive maintenance, like predicting when a machine is going to break down before it actually does.
Exactly. Algorithms monitor sensors on the machinery, vibration sensors, temperature, noise levels, looking for tiny changes, subtle patterns that indicate a part might be starting to fail.
So they can schedule maintenance proactively. Fix it before it causes a big stoppage.
Precisely. Which saves a ton of money by preventing unexpected downtime and maybe costly emergency repairs.
Yeah.
It's like giving the machine an automatic, continuous checkup.
Makes perfect sense. Agriculture, too, I imagine. Farming.
Agriculture is increasingly data-driven. Algorithms analyze soil data from sensors, weather forecasts, even satellite imagery showing crop health.
To optimize things like when to plant, how much water to use, fertilizer.
Exactly. The goal is to boost crop yields while using resources like water and fertilizer more efficiently, making farming potentially more sustainable and productive.
Fascinating. What about creative fields? Is that still mostly human territory, or are algorithms creeping in there too?
Still largely human, for sure, but algorithms are definitely showing up, often as assistants or powerful tools. Think about those AI image generators like DALL-E or Midjourney.
Right, you type in a text prompt and it generates an image. Some of them are truly amazing, really complex.
They are, creating surprisingly original-looking art just from a simple description. Or think about writing tools like Grammarly.
Oh yeah, I use that. Checks your grammar, suggests better phrasing.
That's algorithms again. Analyzing your writing style, the context, and offering suggestions. They're not replacing human creativity, at least not yet, but they're certainly augmenting it, becoming really powerful tools for creators in many fields.
Okay, so algorithms are at work, getting us around town, managing huge industries, even helping us create stuff. What about when we finally kick back and relax? Our downtime, our entertainment.
Downtime. Well, algorithms are working pretty hard there, too, making sure you stay entertained. Streaming services are probably the most obvious example here. Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, Hulu.
Their recommendation engines are absolutely central to their business, aren't they?
Totally central, yeah. Netflix's algorithm is kind of legendary, right?
Yeah.
It uses that mix we talked about. Collaborative filtering.
People like you also watch this.
Right, and content-based filtering.
Because you watch this sci-fi show, you might like this other sci-fi show.
Exactly. Based on genres, actors, moods, all sorts of tags.
And it tracks pretty much everything you do on the platform, doesn't it?
Pretty much everything, yeah.
Yeah.
What you watch, obviously. How long you watch it for. When you pause, rewind, skip ahead. What you add to your watch list. Even what time of day you tend to watch.
All of that data feeds the algorithm.
All feeding the algorithm. So if you just binged, say, all seasons of Stranger Things.
It might suggest another supernatural thriller, or maybe something else set in the 80s.
Exactly. It's connecting those dots based on the content features and your specific viewing habits.
And Spotify does the same with music, right? Blending your listening history with tracks popular among others with similar tastes to create those playlists. Discover weekly again.
Those eerily accurate playlists, they feel incredibly personalized. And these recommendations are remarkably effective, aren't they? I remember hearing a stat about Netflix.
Yeah, I think Netflix themselves reported years ago something like 80% 80 of what people end up watching actually comes from those recommendations.
80%. That's incredible.
It's huge. Not from people actively searching for a specific title, but just clicking on what the algorithm suggests.
Wow. That really shows the power these systems have in guiding our choices. They use really complex approaches, too, things like neural networks.
Neural networks, like inspired by the human brain.
Kinda, yeah. Computer systems designed to learn and process information by finding subtle, often hidden patterns in vast amounts of data. That allows them to make incredibly nuanced predictions about what you might like next.
And they even test tiny things like the little pictures, the thumbnail images for the shows.
Oh yeah, the thumbnails. That's a great example of subtle algorithmic influence. Netflix will often show different thumbnail images for the same show to different users.
Why? Based on my viewing history.
Exactly. To see which image is most likely to make you, specifically, click play. If you watch a lot of romantic comedies, they might show you a thumbnail emphasizing the romantic angle of a particular movie.
But if I watch mostly action movies,
They might show you an action shot from that very same movie, trying to find the image that resonates most with your known preferences.
that's optimizing down to the tiniest details, all just to keep me watching, keep me engaged.
Essentially, yeah. To maximize engagement, that's often the driving force for many of these platforms.
Okay, what about gaming? Algorithms play a big role there, too.
Absolutely. Gaming is a massive area for algorithms. Think about big multiplayer games, Fortnite, League of Legends, Call of Duty. Matchmaking is key. Finding other people to play with or against who are roughly at your skill level.
Precisely. Sophisticated matchmaking algorithms work behind the scenes. They analyze your win-loss ratio, maybe your reaction times in the game, your general play style.
To try and pair you with players of roughly similar skill, so the matches are fair, or at least feel fair.
Right. The goal is to keep it challenging, but hopefully not frustratingly impossible. To keep the game enjoyable, keep you playing.
Keep you engaged. There's that word again.
It comes up a lot. And even in single-player games, you see algorithms. Adaptive difficulty is a concept.
Adaptive difficulty. So the game changes based on how I'm doing.
Sometimes, yeah. Algorithms can subtly adjust the game's challenge based on your performance.
So if I'm really struggling with a particular section, the algorithm might, behind the scenes, make the enemies slightly weaker, or maybe make health packs appear a bit more frequently.
To stop me from getting totally frustrated and quitting the game.
Basically, yeah. To keep you in that flow state, as
Yeah.
psychologists call it. Keep you playing, keep you engaged.
Okay. Online shopping. We touched on ads and recommendations, but it's fundamental there too, isn't it?
Oh, online shopping is fundamentally built on algorithms. Amazon's recommendation engine is legendary. It reportedly drives a huge chunk of their sales. I think the figure often cited is around 35%.
35%, just from the recommendations. Wow.
That's the estimate, yeah. Using that item-to-item collaborative filtering, people who bought this also bought that.
The frequently bought together section.
Right, or recommendations inspired by your browsing history. It really does make the shopping experience feel smoother, more intuitive. Maybe even a bit like they read your mind sometimes.
And probably encourages you to add more stuff to your cart along the way.
Indeed. And don't forget dynamic pricing online. We see this more and more.
Dynamic pricing, meaning the price isn't fixed.
Not always. Algorithms can constantly adjust prices based on current demand, what competitors are charging, maybe even your location or your browsing history.
Really? So that laptop I was looking at yesterday might actually cost a slightly different amount today. Or if I look on my phone versus my desktop?
It's possible, yeah. Airlines and hotels have done this for years, but it's spreading to more online retail. It certainly feels, well, dynamic. And maybe a bit opaque sometimes.
You don't always know why the price is what it is.
Exactly. It's real-time optimization for the seller, impacting your wallet directly.
Wow. Okay, so work, leisure, shopping, Even my social life, like dating apps, surely they use algorithms.
Even dating apps get an algorithmic nudge. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. They all use matching algorithms behind the swipes.
How do those work? I mean, beyond just me swiping right or left, which must be a huge input signal.
Your swipes are definitely a huge input, yeah. But it's also looking at the details in your profile, your stated preferences, age range, distance, things like that.
And it learns what I seem to prefer.
It tries to, yeah. It learns what you seem to prefer based on who you swipe right on. Maybe people who are tall or like dogs or mention hiking in their profile. It then prioritizes showing you more profiles that fit those learned criteria.
Okay.
Some apps apparently even factor in things like how often you message people or how often you respond to
Well,
messages.
why? To gauge engagement?
Sort of, yeah. Maybe trying to gauge your level of seriousness or engagement and match you with other users who seem similarly engaged.
So it's trying to find compatible matches,
Yeah,
algorithmically.
that's the goal anyway. It's this interesting mix of your own choices and the platform's algorithmic suggestions, kind of shaping your potential social connections.
Okay. So, wow. Algorithms are just deeply woven into our personal routines, our work, our leisure. But their reach goes way beyond just our individual lives, doesn't it? What happens when these same forces start impacting society on a much bigger scale?
That's where things get even more profound and, yeah, sometimes more complex and concerning. Let's think about news and information. How most of us find out what's going on in the world now, often through social media feeds.
Right. Platforms like X, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, they use content ranking algorithms. They decide what you see first, what sort of rises to the top of your feed.
And how do they decide what rises to the top? What's the main driving factor there?
Primarily, it seems to be engagement. Likes, shares, comments, retweets, how long people watch a video.
Interaction.
Exactly. The algorithm prioritizes posts that are getting a lot of interaction. Because from the platform's perspective, high engagement means users spend more time scrolling, they see more ads, and that generates more revenue.
Makes business sense. But what's the catch? What's the potential downside of optimizing purely for engagement?
Well, the challenge is that often sensational, emotional, or polarizing content, clickbait headlines, really angry rants, shocking or unverified claims, that kind of stuff often generates more engagement than, say, calm, nuanced, factual reporting.
So that kind of content can get boosted by the algorithm, given more visibility and get amplified, yeah.
Yeah.
Which in turn means it can spread much faster and wider than it might otherwise. This includes potentially spreading misinformation or highly divisive narratives.
I remember this became a huge topic of discussion, especially around the 2016 U.S. election and other major events since.
Absolutely. A lot of analysis showed how algorithms on platforms like Facebook, for example, tended to boost highly polarizing political content. Partly because that content generated strong reactions, positive or negative. It didn't matter, just reactions.
And that contributes to things like echo chambers.
Exactly. Where you primarily see content that just reinforces your existing beliefs. And filter bubbles, where you're simply not exposed to differing viewpoints because the algorithm filters them out, thinking you won't engage with them.
It's important to clarify, the algorithm isn't usually intentionally biased towards one political side, right?
Generally, no. It's biased towards engagement, whatever keeps people clicking and sharing. But the consequence can be that extreme or inflammatory views get amplified over more moderate or factual ones.
Which can make finding common ground harder, potentially strain social cohesion.
That's the concern, yeah, when the information landscape gets so polarized algorithmically.
That feels like a really significant societal impact, potentially stemming just from trying to maximize clicks.
It is. And this effect, this algorithmic influence, extends into other critical societal areas too, like justice systems and public policy.
How so? What do you mean there?
Well, some police departments, for instance, have experimented with or used predictive policing algorithms.
Predictive policing, trying to predict where crime might happen.
Yeah. They analyze historical crime data where crimes have occurred in the past to try and predict where crime might happen next, or where police patrols should be focused to be most efficient. The idea is to use resources smarter.
Okay. But what if that historical crime data itself reflects, well, historical biases, like if certain neighborhoods were over-policed in the past?
That's the huge risk. That's the critical question. If the data used to train the algorithm reflects those historical biases, maybe based on race or socioeconomic status, then the algorithm learns that bias.
It doesn't know it's biased, it just sees a pattern in the data.
Exactly. Just sees more arrests happened here.
Yeah.
And so it can end up perpetuating or even amplifying those existing biases. It might keep recommending patrols be sent to the same areas, creating this feedback loop.
Leading to unfair targeting, potentially.
That's the serious concern.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned reading about that ProPublica investigation back in 2016 into an algorithm called Compass.
Yeah, that was used for making sentencing recommendations, right? Or risk assessments.
Risk assessments, yeah. Predicting the likelihood of someone reoffending. And ProPublica's investigation found it was significantly more likely to incorrectly flag black defendants as being a high risk for future crime compared to white defendants, even when controlling for other factors.
Why was that happening?
Because, fundamentally, it had learned patterns from the historical data of the justice system, data which itself reflected systemic biases and disparities. The algorithm wasn't explicitly programmed to be racist, but it learned patterns that led to racially disparate outcomes.
So the algorithm was essentially just mirroring and maybe even amplifying the biases present in the data it was fed, even though it looked like objective math on the surface.
Precisely. It hammers home that point. An algorithm is only as objective as the data it learns from, and real-world data often contains reflections of societal inequalities.
Which has really serious implications for fairness and justice.
Okay, what about healthcare? You hinted earlier there were potential challenges there too, alongside the amazing diagnostic potential.
Yes, bias is a major concern there as well. Remember that study in the journal Science back in 2019? It got a lot of attention.
Remind me, what did that one find?
It looked at a widely used healthcare algorithm. Its purpose was to identify patients who might need extra care management programs, maybe because they had complex health needs. Okay, sounds like a good goal.
Good goal,
Yeah.
yes. But the study found that the algorithm systematically underestimated the health needs of black patients compared to white patients, even when they had the same level of actual sickness.
Why? How did it make that mistake?
Because the algorithm used healthcare, caused how much money had been spent on a patient's care in the past as a proxy, as a stand-in for how sick they were or how much care they needed.
Okay, but why is that a problem?
Because historically, due to various systemic factors, barriers to access, and biases within the healthcare system itself, less money was often spent on the care of black patients compared to white patients, even for the same conditions.
Ah, I see. So the algorithm learned lower past spending equals lower health need. It essentially encoded that existing societal inequity into its predictions.
Exactly. And as a direct result, black patients who were just as sick were less likely to be flagged by the algorithm for those extra care programs they might have benefited from.
Wow. That's a really profound example, directly impacting people's health outcomes based on using a flawed proxy cost instead of actual need, which reflected historical disparities. It seems like these kinds of learned biases could creep in anywhere. Algorithms use historical data, right? Like in education or hiring.
They potentially could, yes. In education, for example, platforms like Khan Academy or Coursera use algorithms brilliantly to personalize learning paths, suggesting lessons based on how a student is progressing. That's incredibly helpful.
But what's the risk?
The potential risk is that if we're not careful, these tools could inadvertently widen existing gaps. Students who have better access to technology at home, reliable high-speed internet, maybe more parental support, they might benefit more from these personalized learning tools.
Leaving students without those resources potentially falling further behind.
It's a possibility that needs careful consideration. Ensuring equitable access is crucial if these tools are to fulfill their promise for everyone.
Okay. And in hiring. Beyond just the ATS filtering resumes based on keywords, are algorithms being used in more subjective ways?
Some companies are experimenting with or using algorithms that go further, yes. For instance, analyzing video interviews.
Analyzing video interviews, how? What are they looking for?
They might analyze things like speech patterns, tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, trying to algorithmically assess traits like confidence, enthusiasm, or overall suitability for the role.
That sounds incredibly subjective. How can an algorithm possibly assess confidence fairly across different people, different cultures?
That is the core question, and it's a huge challenge. There's a significant risk of bias here. Could the algorithm unintentionally penalize certain accents? Or misinterpret facial expressions based on cultural differences? Could it end up favoring candidates who simply look or sound more like the people in its initial training data?
Yeah, there seem like really significant risks of embedding bias.
They are. Ensuring fairness and avoiding discrimination when using these kinds of assessment tools is an ongoing challenge for developers and employers. It's a really active area of research and debate.
Okay, we've covered a lot of these complex challenges. Now, bias, learn from data, the way engagement algorithms can amplify certain content, privacy issues, potential discrimination. It sounds quite, well, pervasive, sometimes almost overwhelming. But let's pause and shift focus for a moment, because algorithms are also incredibly useful, right? There's a reason they're everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Immensely useful. Let's definitely not lose sight of the incredible upside here. They genuinely make life easier, faster, more efficient in countless ways. Think about just dealing with information overload.
Right. Imagine trying to search the internet before Google came along with its PageRank algorithm. Finding relevant information online used to be incredibly difficult, almost chaotic.
Like searching a massive library with no card catalog. Algorithms brought order to that chaos. Or think about online shopping without recommendation engines or filters, just scrolling endlessly through thousands and thousands of products.
Trying to find one specific style of jeans, yeah, it would take forever. Algorithms cut through that noise dramatically.
And the personalization we talked about earlier, those Spotify playlists that just get you, the GPS routes that magically avoid the worst traffic jams.
That personalization is a huge benefit for many people. Tailored music, optimized routes, saving time and frustration, news feeds that hopefully show you stories you actually care about. It adds a lot of convenience and efficiency to daily life.
Definitely. I rely on my GPS constantly.
Yeah.
And beyond just personal convenience, algorithms are driving real innovation, aren't they? In science, in industry.
They absolutely are. In medicine, we talked about diagnostics, but they're also accelerating drug discovery, simulating how molecules might interact, predicting potential drug candidates far faster than traditional lab methods ever could, speeding up research dramatically.
Yeah. Or consider climate modeling.
Yeah.
Algorithms process these vast environmental data sets to predict weather patterns, climate change impacts, maybe even extreme events like hurricanes, with increasing accuracy.
Which can literally save lives by enabling earlier warnings and better preparedness. That's huge.
These aren't just small conveniences. They're fundamental tools for tackling really big global challenges. In logistics, think about companies like UPS. They use incredibly complex optimization algorithms to plan their delivery routes.
Can make them more efficient.
Hugely more efficient, saving millions of gallons of fuel each year, which is good for their bottom line and for the environment.
Win-win.
Right. And in areas like entertainment or small business, algorithms help democratize reach in some ways. A niche YouTuber can find their specific audience globally. A small local bakery can target ads just to people living in their neighborhood, breaking down some of the traditional gatekeepers.
Giving smaller players a chance to find their audience. That makes sense. And you mentioned life-saving potential earlier, too, beyond just weather warnings.
Absolutely. This is perhaps the most profound positive impact. In disaster response, for example. After an earthquake or a hurricane, algorithms can analyze satellite images incredibly quickly.
To find what? Damaged buildings. Signs of life.
Both, potentially. Identifying the hardest hit areas, maybe spotting blocked roads, or even sometimes patterns that might indicate where survivors are likely to be.
Helping direct rescue teams where they're needed most, saving critical time when every minute counts.
Wow. Or predicting where aid, like food and water, will be most urgently required in the aftermath. And in public health, think about the COVID pandemic. Algorithms were absolutely crucial.
For modeling the spread, predicting peaks.
Exactly. Modeling how the virus was spreading, predicting peaks in infections, understanding the likely impact of interventions like lockdowns or mask mandates. Those models, built on algorithms, directly informed public health decisions around the world.
So they really helped guide the global response significantly.
Immensely. So yes, summing up the benefits, algorithms are like these super smart, tireless assistants, making our world more efficient, more connected, arguably more capable in many, many ways.
Yeah.
Huge positives.
Undeniable positives, absolutely. Okay, so there's the good, a lot of good. But we definitely need to circle back to the complexities, the challenges. We talked about bias. That seems like one of the biggest ethical hurdles.
It's arguably the biggest ethical challenge, yeah. Because, as we've said, algorithms learn from data, and data reflects the world, including its flaws, inequalities, historical biases. It's the old garbage in, garbage out idea, but potentially amplified at massive scale.
And the facial recognition example you mentioned earlier is pretty stark.
It really is. Some systems showing much poorer performance on darker skin tones simply because the data sets they were trained on were predominantly composed of layer-skinned faces.
Leading to higher error rates, more misidentifications for people of color.
Exactly. That NIST study you recall finding some systems were up to 100 times more likely to misidentify Black or Asian faces compared to white faces.
Hmm.
That has potentially devastating real-world consequences if these systems are used for things like law enforcement or security access. It just highlights the absolute critical importance of diverse representative training data.
Absolutely critical. Okay, what about the way algorithms influence our attention? You touched on social media engagement earlier, the manipulation aspect.
Yeah, that's another big area of concern. Algorithms on platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they are often explicitly designed to maximize your time on site. That is literally their job from the platform's perspective.
To keep you scrolling, keep you clicking, keep you watching.
Right. And they often achieve this by learning what kinds of content trigger strong emotions in you. Maybe anger, outrage, excitement, fear. Because that kind of content reliably gets reactions. High reactions mean high engagement.
But what's the side effect of constantly optimizing for those strong emotional triggers?
Well, an unintended consequence can be encouraging compulsive use, making it really hard to look away, hard to put the phone down. That estimate you hear may be 2.5 hours a day on average that people spend on social media. Algorithms are a big reason why these platforms are so sticky, so addictive for some people.
It feels like a digital slot machine sometimes, always promising the next little hit.
Some psychologists use exactly that analogy. Variable rewards, always promising the next little dopamine hit, just one more scroll, one more click away.
And privacy. That feels enormous too. All of the data these algorithms need to function.
It's absolutely fundamental.
Mm.
Algorithms need data to work, often vast amounts of it, and that data is our data. Our searches, our clicks, our locations, our messages, our purchases, even biometric data from our wearables.
And companies collect all this.
They collect it, analyze it, use it to train their algorithms, target those personalized ads, provide the personalized services we often enjoy. But the consent for all this data collection is frequently buried deep in those long, jargon-filled terms and conditions that almost nobody reads.
Guilty as charged. We all just click agree.
We pretty much all do. And that can lead to that creepy feeling sometimes. You casually mention needing new hiking boots to a friend, and suddenly hiking boot ads are everywhere online.
Exactly. How does that happen? Is my phone actually listening?
It's usually more likely analyzing complex connections between your search history, maybe your location data, do you just visit an outdoor store, your app usage patterns, perhaps cross-device tracking if you're logged into the same accounts on multiple devices. While direct audio listening for ad targeting is generally denied by the major platforms.
The combination of other data points can be so predictive, it feels like they're listening.
Exactly. The end result feels the same to the user. But regardless of the precise mechanism, the core point remains. Vast amounts of our personal data are being collected, aggregated, and used, often in ways we don't fully understand.
And that's the trade-off, isn't it? We get the free apps, the personalized recommendations.
In exchange for our data. Convenience and personalization versus privacy.
Huh.
And it's often not a very transparent trade-off. We don't always know exactly what we're giving up.
Okay. And the spread of misinformation or disinformation, we touched on that with engagement metrics driving sensational content. How serious is that?
It's very serious. By prioritizing whatever gets the most clicks, shares, and reactions, algorithms can inadvertently become super spreaders of false or misleading content. Because, as we said, sensational stuff often travels faster and further than careful, factual information.
Right.
During elections or public health crises like COVID, we saw countless examples of viral posts containing completely baseless claims spreading like wildfire, simply because they were more shocking or emotionally charged than the actual facts.
And it's hard for platforms to stop it. Moderation efforts.
It's incredibly hard. Content moderation systems exist, and platforms invest a lot in them. But it's a massive challenge. They sometimes make mistakes, taking down legitimate content, or they might be too slow. And sometimes the sheer volume and speed of misinformation, especially from coordinated campaigns, just overwhelm the systems. It's a constant, ongoing battle.
And finally, sometimes algorithms just make mistakes, right? They're not infallible magic boxes.
Absolutely not. That's a crucial point. Algorithms aren't magic. They make mistakes. You get that completely bizarre Netflix recommendation that makes absolutely no sense based on anything you've ever watched.
Happens all the time, yeah.
Or your GPS tries to send you down a road that's clearly been closed for months, or maybe even, in rare cases, directs you somewhere unsafe.
Hopefully not into a lake, but yeah, you hear stories.
Hopefully not.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens. That's an algorithm goofing up. Maybe it misinterpreted some data. Maybe it hit an unusual edge case its rules weren't designed for. It's a good reminder.
They're not perfect. They're powerful tools, sure, but they're built by humans, trained on potentially messy data, following rules that might have gaps. And sometimes they just get it wrong.
Exactly. So, okay, given this really complex picture we've painted, the incredibly useful stuff, the really challenging aspects, the sheer power involved, how do we navigate all this?
Right.
How do we stay savvy, stay in control in a world so driven by algorithms? What can people listening actually do?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's probably not about trying to opt out entirely. That's almost impossible now, and maybe not even desirable given all the benefits we just talked about.
Right. It's more about awareness, I think, and taking back some control where you realistically can, not being purely passive.
I agree. So what are some practical, proactive steps we can all take to navigate this algorithmic world a bit more consciously?
Okay, step one, maybe. Just grasp that fundamental idea we started with. Algorithms learn from your actions, your likes, your clicks, your searches, your watch time. That's the feedback loop.
So if you want better recommendations, or maybe less annoying ones, be more conscious about the signals you're sending.
Exactly. Actively use the dislike button or skip songs you genuinely don't like on Spotify. Make an effort to like or engage with content on social media that truly reflects your interests, not just the stuff that grabs your attention for a second. Be a more active participant in that feedback loop.
Okay.
Help guide the algorithm better towards what you actually want.
That makes sense. Guiding it better.
Okay.
What else? Step 2.
Second, maybe consciously try to peek outside your information bubble sometimes. Actively broaden your information diet.
Oh, make a deliberate effort to seek out different perspectives.
Yeah. Follow accounts or news sources on social media that are outside your usual political or cultural sphere. If you lean strongly one way politically, deliberately look at reputable news sources from other viewpoints, occasionally not to argue, just to understand their perspective.
Or on platforms like Reddit or X, maybe browse topics or communities you wouldn't normally look at. Introduce some randomness, some diversity into your feed deliberately.
Exactly. Don't just let the algorithm only show you what it thinks you want to see based on past behavior. Seek out novelty, seek out difference sometimes. Challenge its assumptions about you.
Okay, good advice. Third step, privacy.
Third, yeah, protect your privacy where you can. Be proactive about it. Actually go into your app settings, your browser settings, your phone's main settings menu, see what data is being collected and shared. You'd be surprised what you can actually control.
Like turning off location tracking for apps that don't really need it all the time.
Exactly. Does that game really need your precise location 24/7? Probably not. Turn it off or set it to only while using the app. Opt out of personalized advertising where possible. Google, Facebook, many others offer controls for this. You just have to dig around in the settings to find them.
Maybe consider privacy-focused tools.
Yeah, consider using browsers like Firefox or DuckDuckGo that block trackers by default, or install reputable ad blockers and tracker blockers. It's about taking back some control over your digital footprint, being more intentional about what data you're sharing and with whom.
Okay, makes sense. Fourth point, boundaries.
Fourth, set tech boundaries. This is crucial because, as we discussed, algorithms on many platforms are explicitly designed to hook you, to maximize your time spent there. So you need to push back consciously.
Like using those built-in phone features, screen time on iPhone, digital well-being on Android.
Exactly. Use those tools. Set limits on how much time you spend in specific apps, social media, games, whatever your time sinks are, and actually try to stick to those limits. The phone can help enforce them.
Maybe schedule tech-free times?
Definitely. Like, agree on no phones during dinner as a family. Maybe make a rule to leave your phone charging outside the bedroom at night. These small habits can really help break that compulsive scroll cycle that algorithms often encourage.
Create some friction, some intentional space away from the screen. Okay, fifth step, mindset.
Fifth, cultivate a critical mindset. Don't just passively consume everything the algorithm feeds you. Be skeptical.
Especially if something seems designed to provoke a strong reaction.
Exactly. If a post, an ad, a news headline seems almost too good to be true, or perhaps if it makes you instantly angry or outraged, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this intentionally designed to provoke me? Is an algorithm pushing this at me because it knows it gets strong reaction? Be wary of those immediate, strong, emotional triggers.
Yeah. And check things. Don't just take it at face value.
Please, cross-reference information. If you see a surprising or controversial news claim pop up in your feed, take 30 seconds to check it against a couple of reputable, diverse news sources before you believe it. Or, crucially, before you share it. Use fact-checking websites like Snopes or factcheck.org for questionable claims. Don't just take the algorithm's word for it.
Good advice. Okay, and a final tip, maybe about bias.
Sixth, just maintain that awareness of how data influences algorithmic outcomes, especially around those learned patterns and potential biases we discussed. Remember that algorithms reflect the data they're trained on. If that data contains historical biases, the algorithm can learn and perpetuate them. Just keep that possibility in the back of your mind.
So what does that mean practically?
Well, maybe when you're job hunting, don't rely solely on one platform's recommendations. Use several to broaden your search and mitigate the risk of one potentially biased ATS filtering you out unfairly. When you're consuming news, try to find primary sources or raw data sometimes, if possible, to get closer to the original information rather than just relying on the algorithmically filtered summary or headline.
Basically, understand the lens you're seeing things through.
Exactly. Remember, the algorithm is showing you its version of reality, often optimized for engagement or whatever its specific goal is, not necessarily the full objective truth. Awareness here really is power.
Okay, those are really helpful, practical steps. So, looking ahead now, crystal ball time. What's the future hold for algorithms? Are they just going to get even more powerful, more integrated into everything?
Oh, undoubtedly. They're becoming much more sophisticated and really rapidly. Thanks to these huge advances in AI, particularly deep learning, we're already seeing algorithms that can do things that seemed like science fiction just a few years ago.
Like writing coherent essays.
Generating stunningly realistic art from just a text prompt. Composing music that sounds convincingly human. These capabilities are leaping forward incredibly fast.
So what could that mean for the future, both the good and maybe the less good?
Well, beyond the cool creative tools, the potential applications for tackling really big global challenges are immense. Imagine algorithms optimizing renewable energy grids minute by minute, making them far more efficient and helping fight climate change.
Or predicting natural disasters.
Predicting earthquakes or volcanic eruptions with much greater accuracy, giving people more warning time. Designing personalized medicines truly tailored to your individual DNA based on analyzing vast amounts of genetic and health data. Accelerating scientific discovery across the board, there's immense potential for good there.
Enormous potential. But as always with powerful tech, there are complexities, evolving risks.
You're right, the challenges evolve too. One big area is autonomous systems.
Self-driving cars. Delivery drones.
Self-driving cars, drones, maybe even autonomous weapon systems in the future, unfortunately. We're talking about relying on algorithms to make critical decisions, split-second decisions, in complex, unpredictable, real-world environments.
And if those algorithms malfunction, or get hacked, or just encounter a situation they weren't trained for,
the consequences could be catastrophic. We're potentially putting life and death decisions in the hands of code. That's a huge responsibility.
a very heavy responsibility for code.
Yeah.
What else? Deepfakes.
Deepfakes are another rapidly evolving challenge. Those hyper-realistic fake videos or audio recordings.
Yeah, some of them are getting scarily convincing.
Algorithms can now create highly convincing fake video or audio of someone, a politician, a celebrity, anyone saying or doing something they never actually did. The potential for spreading disinformation, manipulating public opinion, damaging reputations, especially in politics and media, it's massive.
It really raises profound questions about whether we can trust what we see and hear online anymore.
It truly does, which makes the whole governance piece, the ethics and regulation, even more critical. Researchers are working hard on developing ethical AI frameworks.
Trying to build fairness, accountability, transparency into the algorithms themselves.
Exactly. Developing methods to audit algorithms for bias, trying to ensure they don't inadvertently discriminate in areas like hiring, loan applications, or medical diagnosis. It's a very active field.
And governments are starting to step in too, aren't they? Like the EU's AI Act.
Yes, that's a major example. Governments are grappling with how to regulate AI, especially high-risk applications. Mandating things like transparency about how algorithms work, requiring human oversight in critical decisions, demanding robust testing before deployment.
But it's tough to regulate this stuff, isn't it?
It's incredibly tough. For one thing, the technology moves so fast, regulation often struggles just to keep up. And getting global agreement on standards is really difficult. Different countries have different priorities, different values around things like data privacy versus state surveillance, or economic competitiveness versus individual rights.
It's a complex balancing act, constantly evolving as the tech evolves.
Exactly.
So, faced with this really complex, fast-moving future, what power do we as individual users actually have? Can we influence this direction at all, or are we just kind of along for the ride?
No, I think we can definitely influence it. We probably have more power than we might think. First, by demanding transparency.
Asking companies tough questions. How does your algorithm work? What data are you using?
Yes. Pushing for clear explanations of how decisions are made, what the potential biases or impacts might be. Choosing to support companies and platforms that are genuinely more transparent and seem more principled about their data practices and ethical considerations.
Maybe supporting initiatives like open source algorithms, too.
Absolutely. When the underlying code is publicly available, researchers, journalists, and the public can actually scrutinize it. That builds trust and helps identify problems or biases much more easily than with closed, proprietary black box systems. Transparency is key.
And ultimately, using our choices as consumers.
Exactly. Voting with our wallets, or maybe voting with our clicks and our attention spans. Choosing to use platforms and services that align with our values around fairness, privacy, and responsible technology development, our collective choices can send a strong message to the industry.
They really can. If enough users demand better practices, companies often do listen, eventually. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a huge amount of ground today. Algorithms. They really are these incredibly powerful, multifaceted digital assistants, aren't they? These almost invisible helpers in our lives.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They organize our information, personalize our experiences, help us navigate complexity from your smart alarm clock in the morning to your GPS guiding you home to your Netflix queue waiting for you at night. And the benefits are undeniable. Saving time, incredible convenience, driving innovation in science and industry, even, as we discussed, potentially saving lives. Huge positive.
Undeniable positives, absolutely.
But, as we've spent a lot of time discussing, they're not perfect tools. They come with significant complexities and challenges.
No, definitely not perfect. They can reflect and amplify biases from their training data in really significant ways. They require collecting vast amounts of our personal data, raising huge privacy questions. They can be explicitly designed to capture and manipulate our attention, influencing our behavior, sometimes encouraging compulsive use.
And they can inadvertently become super spreaders of misinformation or just make plain old mistakes sometimes.
Right, so it really is that double-edged sword. Incredibly powerful, capable of amazing things, but needs very, very careful handling.
Precisely. Which brings us back to the user, back to you listening. The key takeaway, it seems to me, from everything we've talked about is that we are not powerless in the face of all this. We don't have to just be passive recipients of whatever the algorithm decides to serve up next.
Not at all. By understanding the basics of how they work, by being proactive about protecting our data where we can, and by consciously cultivating that critical mindset, questioning what we see, seeking diverse sources, cross-referencing information, we really can stay more in the driver's seat.
More often than not, yeah. Maintaining our agency in our own digital lives.
Exactly. Maintaining agency. And as algorithms continue to evolve, which they absolutely will, getting even smarter and more integrated, our approach to them has to evolve too. We need to keep learning, keep adapting, and keep demanding that transparency, fairness, and accountability from the companies and developers building these powerful systems.
It's an ongoing conversation, isn't it? An ongoing responsibility, really, for all of us who use this technology.
It truly is. So maybe just a final thought for everyone listening to take away. The next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through your social feed, or automatically following those GPS directions without really thinking, or getting totally absorbed in a show that Netflix just happened to recommend, maybe just take a brief moment, pause.
Appreciate the incredible, intricate algorithms at work behind the scenes. Acknowledge their power.
Acknowledge their power. And then maybe take another moment to just consider, how are they shaping your world, your choices, your perceptions, your experiences?
Yeah. What stands out to you from our deep dive today? Have algorithms ever really surprised you? Maybe annoyed you intensely? Or perhaps genuinely made your life noticeably better in some way? Something to ponder.